Eleanor Roosevelt was one of the most influential first ladies in American history. What did she do that changed the role of the First Lady? How did she impact American life? Eleanor Roosevelt was raised in New York City. Her family was extremely wealthy, but her early life was not without its difficulties. Both her mother and father died before she was 10. When Eleanor was 18, she met her future husband, Franklin, while traveling on a train. Eventually, the two were engaged, and they married on March 17, 1905. Eleanor's role in politics began as early as 1921, at the onset of Franklin's polio. She would fill in for him at public appearances when he was incapable of traveling. She also became a strong advocate for such goals as minimum wage, a 48-hour work week, and the abolition of child labor. She became very influential in the New York State Democrat Party. The ties she made amongst other important Democrat women helped her husband secure the nomination for governor and go on to win the election. Of course, being the governor of New York eventually led him to the presidency. As First Lady, Eleanor's goal was to redefine the position. She became the most active First Lady in history and established the modern standard for what is expected from the role. She began holding her own press conferences, holding 348 during her 12 years in the White House. She also had a daily newspaper column, which she wrote 6 days a week from 1936 to 1962. She spoke all over the country at various speaking engagements, earning $1,000 a speech, and even co-chaired the Office of Civilian Defense. All of these activities helped her to champion the role of women in American society. She became so active and involved in her husband's administration that it began to alter the public's opinion about women. This was significant during an era when few women had employment outside of the home. Also, at her weekly press conferences, she banned male reporters. This forced newspapers to hire female reporters in order to keep up with Eleanor's activities. This act placed women in positions where they could voice their opinions about issues. Aside from being a champion of women's rights, Roosevelt was also a major advocate of African American rights, being very outspoken with her support of the civil rights movement. In fact, she became so popular amongst African Americans that it helped create a significant shift in the voting demographics of the nation. African Americans had long been a solid voting base for Republicans. However, this began to shift in the late 1930s, partially due to Eleanor Roosevelt's stance on civil rights issues.